Hello friends, in this video we will learn about the nomenclature of refrigerants. Nomenclature, that is the chemical formula. We know there are several refrigerants. So there are several refrigerants that are used in air conditioning and refrigeration purposes. So based on the refrigerants that we usually see in our books, we will cover one by one all the refrigerants that are being asked in all the competitive exams. If you belong to mechanical, there are high chances you will see at least one or sometimes more than one question on nomenclature, that is to find out chemical formula. Suppose that is a two digit R22, R23, or R110, R132. So what would be the nomenclature? How would you express in formula? So how many hydrogen atoms, chlorine, fluorine and carbon, would you represent based on that refrigerant? So we will cover all that. So stay tuned. Please be with me in this video till the end, and if you find my videos are helping you, please do subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. So let's start. Let's begin this video. So to find chemical formula, nomenclature is nothing but to find out the chemical formula. So refrigerants are either methane based, usually either methane based or ethane based. This is the general thing that I'm highlighting before I start, before I go into the how to express, how to find out the nomenclature. So this is a general introduction about refrigerants. Refrigerants are either methane based or ethane based. Ethane based, because these are halocarbon refrigerants. Halo means chlorine or fluorine. These two belong to halogen, that is why. And we often see chlorine and fluorine in the refrigerants. So that is why these refrigerants are also known as halocarbon refrigerants. Halocarbon. And they are further classed into either methane based or ethane based. And to simplify this more, we know the simplest general formula of alkanage. You all know alkanage, CnH2n plus 2, right? So if you put 0 in place of n, suppose if you put 0 in place of n, this will simplify to, this is C0H0. So this comes out to be nothing. If you give 1 in place of n, so H2 into 1 plus 2, so this is giving you CH4. So this is what this is methane. So the simplest is methane. Methane is also a refrigerant, you have just seen. So because these are either methane based or ethane based. So next, if you look at the second, if you give n is 2, n equal to 2, then I'm just putting this in alkane, formula of alkane, general formula, CH2 into 2 plus 2. So this will give you C2H6. C2H6 is nothing but ethane. That is why these are the derivatives. All the refrigerants are derivatives. Refrigerants are derivatives of this methane based or ethane based compounds, and these are also halocarbon refrigerants. So let's begin the nomenclature one by one. So if I start with first number R11, I will tell you the simplest trick, easiest method to land at the nomenclature, or to write down the, to find out the, if you have four options, which one would be the, so you want to save your time and you want to find out the correct option as well. So R11, so you have, usually you will see next to R three digit figure or two-digit figure, say RXY or RXY and Z. So usually you will see this. So I will today in this video I will cover two-digit and three-digit refrigerants, because more likely the questions come from this category only. So let's begin. If you have R11, right, and if you have to see hydrogen, chlorine, fluorine and carbon, these are the four elements that you have to see, you have to find out uh, based on this refrigerant. So we will see just looking at two digits. If you see two digit figure next to R, you will just understand this is a methane based refrigerant, right? Methane based refrigerant. So what do you have to do? So we have R11. So first digit is 1 and second digit is also 1. So to find out, so you have to see hydrogen, chlorine, fluorine and carbon. So first digit is always -1. You subtract -1 from first digit, that will give the number of hydrogen atoms, right? So this is coming out to be 0. And second digit is always the number of fluorine atoms. So 1, we say C1. You don't have to add or subtract anything. So this is fluorine. See, this second digit belongs to fluorine and first digit belongs to hydrogen. So hydrogen, we don't see any atoms, so in the formula there would be no representation of H, and H will not come in the picture, and here you have to give F. And this is methane based, so C is always there, C and F. And so please keep on writing the useful tricks that you have to remember while you are sitting in the exam and finding out the right option. So here, as I said, the first trick is whenever you see two digit figure next to R, that it is methane based refrigerant, and if you see three digit figure next to R, suppose R110, it is nothing but ethane based refrigerant. Suppose R132, this is also ethane based, and if you see R32, R44, these are all methane based refrigerants. So this is the first trick to determine or to distinguish between the categories of refrigerants. So we will go one by one. R11, you know carbon. I will start with carbon. Carbon is tetravalent, its valency is 4, right? Its valency is 4. So this will be bonded with four different or four similar atoms, maybe, depending on the situation, depending on the bonding. So this has its valency is 4. So it can have a bond with fluorine, it can have a bond with hydrogen, or it can have a bond with carbon atom as well. But as you know, the trick is to know that, decide that this is only methane based, so no ethane, so no other carbon atom will come here. So the only we have is, first thing is chlorine, between among chlorine, fluorine, carbon and hydrogen. So we have just eliminated carbon from here, because two digit refrigerants will have chlorine, fluorine, from chlorine, fluorine and hydrogen, no carbon atom would come here. So all this tetravalent would be occupied by any of these. So the let's begin how to find out. So first digit in this two digit figure, first digit -1, first digit is 1, -1 is equal to 0 will give you number of hydrogen atoms, right? Number of hydrogen atoms. So this is 0, means this is not going to have any hydrogen atom. And the second digit in this figure is again 1. Second digit, this is first digit. First digit -1, which has given us 0, 0 number of hydrogen atoms, 0 number of hydrogen atoms. Second digit is also 1, second digit in this figure, second digit. So you don't have to add or subtract here. Second digit will simply represent the number of fluorine atoms. So fluorine will have 1. So now, and since this carbon is tetravalent, so between among chlorine, hydrogen, carbon and this fluorine, this is going to occupy, this is going to be bonded, this carbon atom, but there is no other carbon atom. So between chlorine, fluorine and hydrogen, here hydrogen you got 0, fluorine 1, means the next 3 would be taken by chlorine. So we got the formula, and 1 you have to see C. Well, you have to always write C. 1C, C1, because this is methane based, no C2, because there is no other carbon atom that is going to be bonded with this carbon atom. So C1 and H is 0, H is 0, so we don't need to write H here. F is 1, so we can write F, and the other three vacants are taken by chlorine. So this is the formula CFCl3. CF, you don't have to write one as a subscript next to C. So CFCl3 is going to be the formula for this R11. So this is how we got CFCl3. This is the chemical formula nomenclature for this R11 refrigerant. So please be with me in this video, watch till end. We will be covering all the refrigerants, all the important refrigerants that are going to be asked in the exam, or that are being asked like since very beginning. And so let's write the second refrigerant. This is also methane based. As you know, I have already told that whenever you see two-digit figure next to R, you should decide, you have to quickly decide that this is going to be methane based, and there is one carbon atom for sure, as it is tetravalent. As this is tetravalent, so one among chlorine, fluorine and hydrogen would be taken by the bonds of this carbon, 1 2 3 and 4, and no carbon atom would come here because this is methane based, so only one carbon atom. So let's see, we will go with the same approach that we used in the first in order to find out the formula for R11. So first digit here is 1, first digit is 1, first digit is 1, and let me write here second digit. What do you see second digit? This is 2. So while finding out the formula, first digit minus 1, first digit minus 1 will always give the number of hydrogen atoms. So this is again giving me 0. 0 is the number of hydrogen atoms. So while writing the formula, we don't need to find H0. Simply H is not in the picture. Second digit is 2. So second digit is always the number of fluorine atoms. Fluorine atoms are going to take the second digit. As the digit expresses, those many atoms are going to be taken by fluorine. So this is simply taken by fluorine. And so you got 2 fluorine. So you can just write here, fill this bonds. So you see 2 vacancies are still there, and hydrogen is 0, and between fluorine, chlorine and H you have to decide the number of atoms. So rest would be taken by chlorine. So we got the formula CF2Cl2, CF2Cl2. This is going to the formula for R12 CF2Cl2. Now let's find out the formula for third refrigerant R13. So quickly you can decide this is also methane based refrigerant, and so let's go with the same approach again. First digit is 1, and first digit minus 1 would always give the number of hydrogen atoms, so this is again 0, so H will not come into picture again. Second digit, you don't need to add or subtract any value here, so this will entirely be taken by the fluorine. If you write the number, if you do the pictorial representation of bonds, so three bonds would be covered by fluorine, and H is 0, no H will come here, so rest would be taken by chlorine, because you have to decide among chlorine, fluorine and hydrogen, and no carbon will come here because as this is methane based refrigerant. So you got the formula CF3Cl. So by doing this pictorial representation, you can quickly decide the right formula for this refrigerant, and you can just eliminate the options in the provided options. This is how we proceed. I hope you are getting everything and finding the easiest approach. Now let's find out the formula for refrigerant R14. So this is again a methane based refrigerant. So here again first digit is 1, and minus 1, every time you have to subtract 1 from the first digit. So this is again giving me 0, and 0 is the number of hydrogen atoms, right? And second digit here is 4. So again you don't need to add or subtract anything, so this is entirely taken by the fluorine atoms, fluorine. And if you express this, the bonds, because carbon is tetravalent, all the 4 bonds are taken by fluorine. and there is no chlorine or hydrogen coming into picture because there is no place for chlorine. All the four bonds are taken by fluorine. So very quickly we can write the formula as CF4, as this is methane based. So CF4, right? This is the formula. Let's find out the formula, chemical formula nomenclature for another refrigerant, that is R21. R21. So here just watch very attentively. R21 here, this is slightly different from what we have seen earlier in all these refrigerants, R11, R12, R13, R14. This is 21. So here what is the first digit? First digit is 2. So every time the first digit that you see next to R minus 1, you have to subtract minus 1 from the first digit, and whatever will come will be the number of hydrogen atoms. So here one hydrogen atom is there, will come into picture. Second digit is, this is the second digit, 1. Second digit is 1, and this belongs to fluorine. So here you have one hydrogen atom, one fluorine. So just give the bonds for carbon. So one, you can write one H, one F, and there are two vacancies. So those two are taken by chlorine. Why chlorine? Because you have to decide among for fluorine, hydrogen, and chlorine only. For in the case of methane-based refrigerant, had it been ethane-based, one of these four bonds can be taken by another carbon atom. But here that is not the case. That is why, and the formula is CHFCl2. This is very easy. Why? One hydrogen, one fluorine, and two number of chlorine. So this is the formula for R21, CHFCl2. Now let's take another methane based refrigerant. I'm just trying to solve all the refrigerants that are covered in the exam, that are likely asked in the exam, and you don't find it difficult. So R21, let's solve R22. So here also this is methane based refrigerant, and first digit next to R is 2. So every time you have to subtract 1, so 2 minus 1, it gives 1. So 1 is again the number of hydrogen atoms, and the second digit is 2. So 2, this solely belongs to fluorine. This will entirely be taken by fluorine. So if you give the bonds for carbon, so 1 you have to give H. There are 2F, 2 number of fluorine, so 2F, and 1 is vacant, so this will be taken by chlorine. Rest is always taken by chlorine. So this is how you decide the formula for R22. So C1H, 2F, and 1Cl. So this is the formula for R22. What you have got? CHF2Cl. CHF2Cl. This is very different from R21. The numbers are varying. Now we will see another refrigerant. This is again a methane based refrigerant, R30. So here this is slightly different from what we have covered in above refrigerants. So R30, here you can see the first digit is, this is again a methane based refrigerant. This is first digit next to R is 3. So you have to subtract 1 from the first digit. This is giving me 2. So 2 number of hydrogen atoms. Second digit is 0. So as we have learned that second digit is entirely taken belongs to fluorine. So fluorine is 0, so this will not come in the picture while writing the formula. And rest is always taken by chlorine, because you have to decide between the number of bonds taken by the atoms between chlorine, fluorine, and hydrogen, because no other carbon will come in case of methane based refrigerant. So you got the formula. C, just if you want you can just expand this again. Let me find out a space, more space. So 2 number of hydrogen atoms, so you can just fill this 2 by with hydrogen, and decide for the rest 2. So there is no fluorine, so rest would be taken by chlorine. So you got the formula for R30. What is this? CH2Cl2. You can write either way, CCl2, H2, which one you want, but you have to just eliminate the options. You have to find out the correct option. CH2Cl2. Now let's solve another refrigerant. R40. These are not difficult ones, but level is slightly increasing as this number of atoms, number of elements that are going to be bonded with the carbon are increasing or are varying. It is slight change every time. So R40, this is again a methane based refrigerant. First digit here is 4. So first digit minus 1 is 3. So 3 number of hydrogen atoms. And second digit here is 0. So this is entirely taken by which belongs to fluorine. So if you do this pictorial, of 3 of the valences are taken by hydrogen and 1 is remaining, but there is no fluorine, so rest will be taken by chlorine. Chlorine, rest is always taken by chlorine. So you got the formula here: C, 3 number of hydrogen, CH3Cl, and there is no F. So this is the formula. So this is the formula for R40. We just got CH3Cl. CH3Cl. You can write either way, CClH3, as you see in the option. Now next is we can take another one. I think we have covered all the important methane based refrigerants. Now let's start with ethane based refrigerants. So ethane based refrigerants, we are going by the easiest trick. Easiest trick, and nowhere else you will learn this method. So we have covered, as of now, we have covered all the methane based refrigerants. Now let's start ethane based refrigerants. So as I have shown you ethane based, in the ethane based refrigerants, how to decide, how to distinguish between methane and ethane. Whenever you see a 3-digit figure next to R, 3-digit figure next to R, that you can simply decide this is an ethane based refrigerant. And whenever you see a 2-digit figure, suppose R11, R12, that is methane based, and R, suppose for example, one you take, for example, R132 or R412. So these all are ethane based, because why? You see, you have seen three digit figure next to R. And again, as you have seen, the general formula for alkane is CnH2n plus 2. So for methane it is CH4. There is only one carbon atom. For ethane takes two carbon atoms, and each carbon is tetravalent. Its valency is 4. So each of the carbon would be bonded with 4 other atoms. It can be carbon. So each of the carbon would be bonded with 4 other atoms, similar atoms or dissimilar atoms, means atoms of another elements as well. So in ethane based refrigerants, so whenever you see a 3-digit figure next to R, suppose I write 113, it can be another refrigerant is 114, or suppose 134, that is the most popular, most widely used. This is eco-friendly refrigerant R134A. We will see the nomenclature of all of these, but we'll cover one by one. And please be with me in the entire video, and you have to learn the method, and you have to find out the easiest method. You have to save your time, and you have to land at the correct option whenever you find such questions. So let's start one. The approach is similar, slight different from what we have seen in methane based refrigerant. And so let me just quickly recap the formula, how to find out nomenclature for methane based. Suppose R23 is there. So what we were doing, first digit minus 1 was always giving you number of hydrogen atoms. Suppose 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. So this is always the number of hydrogen atoms. And second digit, we were not doing anything. We were just writing as it is. 3 is solely taken by, or entirely taken by, fluorine. Here what we will do, in case of ethane, the 3-digit figure is there. So first digit, you don't have to touch this. You should not be worried about what you see in the first digit. So 1, you have to keep aside. You don't need to see it even. You're not worried about. You should not be bothered about what you see in the first digit. So come to the second digit. Second digit is 1. I'm just talking about, we are now covering ethane based refrigerant. So second digit is, in case of R113, second digit is 1. Here again you have to subtract minus 1. What you were doing in methane based, you were subtracting 1 from the first digit. You are landing at the number of hydrogen atoms. That is how. Here you are subtracting 1 from what you see in the second digit. So 1 you see in the second digit minus 1 is 1. So again 0. So 0 is taken by the number of hydrogen atoms. So no H hydrogen will come in the picture while you are writing the formula. Third digit. Now come to the third digit. There are 3 digits. So this is a 3-digit figure. Third digit would be taken again by fluorine. In case of methane based, the second digit was taken by fluorine. You are not adding or subtracting even, and first digit you are subtracting 1. So here again you should not be worried about first digit. Just hide this and you are left with 13 only, 1 3. So you did the subtraction from with 1 and you are just giving the all the number of atoms that you see in the third digit to fluorine. But if you go on, since this is ethane based, so directly you will know decide that there would be 2 number of carbon atoms and you have to fill all this vacancy with certain elements or atoms of the similar element. So let me just write this. We will do this for all of the ethane based refrigerants to make this simpler for you, and your all of your doubts and confusions will go away. So here it is. So as we have seen, the number of hydrogen is 0, so no H will come here. Fluorine is 3. So you can just, your wish, if you want, you can give fluorine, 3 fluorines to here. So you can see for this carbon, all the 4 bonds are filled. One with carbon only, and 3 are taken by fluorine. You see there are still 3 vacancies. So the remaining would be taken by chlorine, as we were doing in case of methane based refrigerants. So the rest was always taken by chlorine. Here also, whatever you see, you have to decide between chlorine, fluorine and H, right? So rest would always be taken by chlorine. So here you can just present Cl. So the formula is, you see 3 number of fluorine, you see 3 number of fluorine. So the formula for R113 is CF3Cl3. This is how you got the formula. Similarly, we can find out chemical formula for other ethane based refrigerants. Just now we calculated for R113 and we can calculate for rest of ethane based like R114. This is the formula. R114, if R115 is another important ethane based refrigerant. R123, and there is one popular very widely used refrigerant, that is R134. This is an eco-friendly, environment-friendly refrigerant. So you can apply the trick as has been discussed in this video. If you like the video, do subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends, and stay tuned, and please be with the channel. More informative videos on current affairs, static GK and technical portion will be posted on the channel frequently. So please be with us on the channel and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.